Welcome everyone, Dylan Gemelli here today with a brand new video for you, and today I'm going to answer the question of what is selfish steroid use. But before we get into that, just a big shout out and thank you to everybody out there watching and supporting the channel. I cannot thank you enough. If you haven't yet, please like, share, subscribe, comment. Anything that you can do to interact with the channel is going to help the channel to grow, and it's going to allow me to produce more and more content for you each and every day. Now, today's video is sponsored by the Anabolic Doc app. Now, the Anabolic Doc app features world-renowned certified internal medicine Dr. Thomas O'Connor, also known as the Anabolic Doc. The app is amazing. It's going to provide you personalized medical information. So just some of the key features real quick. You're going to get a digital history and physical exam where you can learn digitally about all the medical issues that you need to understand. You also get live weekly Zoom meetings where you have the opportunity to ask the doc questions live, but you also get to listen to other members' questions, and you're going to gain a ton of extra information that you may have not been aware of, and it's just very cool to hear about different instances with different types of people. You're also going to get discounted commercial lab panels, no doctor's prescription required, but it's only available through the app. There's weekly member-only uncensored videos that you're not going to get anywhere but on the app. You got the Anabolic Doc mailbag where you can submit questions and read answers from other people, and you also have a diagnostic video library. Now, you're going to get all of this for only $19.99 per month. You have to go to www.anabolicdocapp.com. Use my coupon code Gemelli50, all capital letters, and it's going to save you 50% off your first month with the Anabolic Doc app. So, all right, I want to talk to you about selfish steroid use. And the reason that I'm doing this is because it's been something that's always bothered me. The older that I've gotten especially, and the more that I realize, when you get older, you start to realize several things about your life. One is that your mortality. You realize, especially as you get to 40, it's like, well, wow, where'd the time go? And wow, I'm going to be 50 shortly. And then it's like, wow, I'll be 60. And it's like, wow. And you start looking back on things. Then you start to think about how choices you've made, how they've affected people that you care about and that you love. And you start to realize how selfish that you've been. And you've only thought about yourself in a lot of instances, and you haven't thought about how your actions affect the people that you care about. And when you start to look at things like that, it makes you take a step back and reassess everything that you're doing. And that's why I wanted to talk about selfish steroid use. There's a lot of people that blindly use steroids, that take advice from people that have no business giving advice, that really don't think about any long-term repercussions, don't really take seriously the side effects because they either don't know, people have provided them with encouraging information that couldn't be further from the truth. They read things, hear things, assume things, and they have no understanding of long-term problems this has and how real that this is. I'm going to cite some instances. I'm going to talk to you about some things that I've observed, some questions that I've gotten, things that I read, instances that I've come across. Here's just a few. A lot of people that start using steroids in their 20s, which I really, really, really do not condone and advise against, but I am not a moron here. I know people are going to do it. One of the things you'll hear is, well, I don't want kids. That's not something I'm thinking about. Well, most of us, not all of us, some of us think about that stuff in our 20s. Most of us, depending upon the person, but I'd say far more than less, I agree. I wasn't thinking about that then and wasn't really worried about it. And a lot of guys think that and don't worry about it. Oh, I'm not going to get married. I don't want kids. Well, guess what? Shit changes. And things that you want, things that are important, overall understanding of life and goals, etc., it changes, I assure you. And guess what happens to a lot of us? Not all of us, but a lot of us. We end up meeting a girl, we fall in love, you get married. And then the woman and you really want to have a child. And guess what? You've used steroids, you've abused steroids. Chances are you're on TRT, or chances are you haven't done blood work. Chances are you haven't paid attention, and you've run yourself into the ground. And come to find out, you're trying to get pregnant. You can't get pregnant. You can't get pregnant. You can't get pregnant. Go to a fertility clinic and you're showing a 0 number or next to nothing. And not saying it's impossible, because I've seen plenty of guys on TRT, because it only takes one sperm. But you've made it extremely difficult and more or less unlikely. Not impossible, but unlikely. Now, you can go through several things with the fertility clinic. It's terrible on everybody, stressful, it's expensive, and it's not a guarantee. And not only are you feeling terrible because you want a kid at this point, but guess what? You've put your wife, your significant other, the one you care about the most, in a pretty awkward position. Because now you've also possibly ruined her life, because maybe she just lived to have kids. Who knows? I don't know. But it could be something that she's resentful for. Shit, you could have somebody that just leaves you. I don't know. I don't know the kind of relationships you have. But that's just one instance. Now think about if you have kids and you're abusing steroids and it could kill you, or it could totally affect your quality of life. It could put you in a predicament where you're in the hospital nonstop, or you're dealing with this, or you're dealing with that, and it's affecting your mood, you're overly aggressive, or it's something you're hiding from your family, or it's something that causes you to lose a job. Think about these things and how that could affect people around you that love you and care about you. Not just yourself, because that's a whole nother issue. And that's stuff that you got to deal with forever. TRT is forever. Crashing your testosterone is not a joke. Putting all of this strain on your body internally is not a joke. Just because the bros tell you it's going to be okay, or just because your blood work checked out in your 20s, well, guess what? The more that you do this to yourself, and the more it accumulates. And over time, some people far sooner than others, you got nothing but debilitating problems that have just thrashed your quality of life, ruined relationships. Who knows what else they've cost you? Who knows? That's what selfish steroid use is about. Not thinking about others, only caring about yourself, only thinking about tomorrow. And then, like, if you have all these medical problems, it could affect your insurance. Who knows? It could cost you a ton of money. It could cost you your fucking life. In more ways than one. And if it doesn't kill you, who knows what it could do to the people that love you? They may not even want to be around you anymore. You could possibly ruin relationships. My point is, I'm not saying this stuff is a guarantee to happen, but that's what selfish steroid use is. If you don't think about long term, if you don't think about other people, if you're not careful, if you're not diligent on going through and doing all your blood work, on running proper doses, on taking the proper time off, you got to ask yourself the question. And I had to come to this conclusion at a certain point. Is it worth it to have all of these problems that could happen to look good for a little bit? Does that looking good secure your life? Does it make you a ton of money? I don't know. Does it make you feel good to show off to a bunch of dudes to get like reaffirmation for what? For what? Think about all the things that I just talked about, and there's a slew of other things I could bring up that could possibly come up. Is it worth it? Is it really, really worth it? You have to ask yourself these questions. These are things you have to think about. I'm not telling anybody what to do. Shit, I've ran cycles. I coach people that run cycles, but I don't encourage use. I just am a realist and know that people are going to do it. So, it would be better. And I'm not the guy that, well, I'm going to rob the banks. You might as well tell me how to do it. No. I'm not going to advise, or take on clients in their 20s when I know how wrong that is. But the point is, people like myself and so many others that are educated on it could at least provide proper education, as opposed to all of these people on social media now, and these guys in their early 20s, or these dealers that just want to take your money and tell you that everything's fine, run this, this, and this. So I at least try to give people the most conservative approach and look at quality of life and longevity and think about others first. But you need to think about all of these things before you just jump in and start blasting this and that, and not really giving a fuck about blood work and thinking that nothing will ever happen to you and everything's going to be okay. Because I can guarantee you that is not how this works. I have coached at this point thousands upon thousands, and I have seen some horror stories. That's why I'm making these videos, because I've had to see this, and I endure some of the things other people endure because I'm coaching them and helping them, and I see how it's affecting their life. And the older I've gotten, the more it hits home. So I'm not sitting here telling anybody what to do. I'm not saying you can't do this, this, or this, and maybe stay healthy and get by. But what I'm saying is, think about everything before you do it, and really think about how you're doing it and how you're approaching it if you're gonna do it. So take it for what it's worth. That being said, stay tuned for Monday more to come. Dylan Gemelli, signing off.